In the last episode, we managed to make a line capable of making plastic, but we had to manually transfer oil from the drilling spot to our base. So, it is time to look at a better option. Luckily, the quest book has a whole page about it. We are going to make a bunch of rails, which aren't that expensive, and, with an MV fluid extractor, we can get 16 out of one steel ingot. Once we manage to get a bunch of tracks, we shall also make some wagons. Once we have these, all we have to do next is dig our new metropolitan, which is going to be a really long tunnel. And, once we reach the beach area, we find ourselves with some issues. The tunnel collapsed. And the fastest fix was to move the tunnel upwards and turn it into a bridge on the ocean. Once we connect to our mining outposts, we can start laying down the rails. But these rails do not look greggy enough for us. We shall instead make some better and bigger tracks. These cooler rails will also need a cooler wrench. But, there is something even cooler and greggier that we need. A giant station where we can build our trains. But that might be too much for us, so let's settle for the good old trusty long-distance fluid pipelines. And that was totally not an excuse for me being unable to build the railroad station. Now that we have infinite oil, we can also take out from our plastic line some fuel oil which we can use for powering a gas turbine to have infinite energy in our base. This turbine will also produce some flue gas, which we can use to obtain some sulfur dioxide or to produce some extra power by running it into a heat exchanger to produce steam. However, since we have infinite oil, we are not going to do any of that for the moment. Also, we don't even need a gas flare stack, since the turbine is running fine by voiding it. And since that system will keep our batteries full, we no longer need our bronze boiler. So, we slowly dismantle it with this slow wrench and rebuild it next to our oil rig, so that we can power it infinitely. Even if we have infinite oil, we are reusing the system that will turn the boiler on and off based on the battery charge level. And I think our oil rig should be good forever. Now we can head back using the poor man trains we already built in the past. The only useful quest left to do in the LV page is to find diamonds, which are found in the nether. But, before we go down, we should be ready to get back up, so we make a jetpack. This is not an electric one, but we have to fill it with unburnable fuel. Now that we are prepared, we can go in the nether to get diamonds. However, in this pack, you don't go in the nether with magic by setting on fire a ring of obsidian. You have to do some manual work and dig until you break the bedrock and go beneath. Once there, you have to dig, fall and dig again for 256 more blocks. Then, we break the bedrock again and find ourselves in the nether. Now we can keep digging until we find a large space in which we can freely move. In this place we can find useful stuff, such as raw sulfur ore, graphite, and, finally, kimberlite, which we have to cook, macerate and then sift to obtain diamonds. Close to that, we also found some mineral-rich sand, which seems to be useless. Anyways, once we get back to our base and work the kimberlite into diamonds, we can start checking the quest on how to have infinite ores. However, this big machine has to be placed on a specific mineral deposit and, after a really quick search, I couldn't find any. Since we aren't even using all the minerals I'm mining while making tunnels, I think we can move to the MV page for the moment. And after doing what we knew we had to do, we can start to get lost into the many tasks of MV.